Welcome you all to the IEEE Footprints. I'm Yashoda Hansini and I'll be the host for the show today.
Did IEEE inspire me to get started? I didn't know IEEE existed when I started, but IEEE did help me boost. I think the biggest problem that comes in when a lot of people start joining IEEE is so give them the equal opportunity, and also if you're a volunteer, I think you have to take that opportunity. If you feel that you can do something, would I recommend this? I would 100% recommend this to anyone and all. People think that sticking into section 7 projects will stimulate your brain, but I think when you meet the personal development that I had across volunteering so far in IEEE paved the way for me to get this opportunity.
Hello everyone. Welcome you all to the IEEE Footprints, Tales of a Volunteer, organized by the IEEE Student Branch of the University of Jaffna. I'm Yashoda Hansini and I'll be the host for the show today. Like always, we have come with a special guest today as well. He is the IEEE Webmaster of the Region 10 Student Activities Committee, co-chair of AI-Driven Sri Lanka, and he is the former Industry Relations Subcommittee Chair of Student Activities Committee, IEEE Sri Lanka Section. And also, he is the former chair of INSL for 2019-20. So, he is Mr. Mithushan Jalangan. We warmly welcome you with great pleasure for accepting our invitation and your presence.
Thank you very much for actually having me today, and thank you for the University of Student Branch for actually giving extending the invitation as well.
Let's begin the show. Can you simply introduce who Mithushan Jalangan is?
Sure. I don't think I have much to say about me, but just to give like a current update, who and what I am, I think you already gave a nice introduction on my IEEE background. But apart from that, I'm also a senior software engineer at a company called Rooster Technology. Apart from that, I do like to build products as like an indie hacker, basically like independent developer. And apart from that, I just enjoy long walks and strolling around, enjoying my solitude in a very windy climate.
We know that everyone lays the foundation for life in their childhood, especially in school. Many of us gain a lot of experience in school life by doing various activities, but some don't have this experience. When you think about yourself now, what is your idea? And can we go back to your school life?
Sure. So I was a very silent kid at school until I finished my O-levels, but I did actually get involved. So my actually first club experience was I joined Interact, and I was involved in a lot of societies during A-levels. I think that might be a bit of a controversial thing. Like people normally tell you're supposed to focus more on A-levels when you're doing A-levels, but I think I actually started getting active with clubs and societies when I was doing A-levels. I think I got that sudden spark after the whole O-level journey and like spending some time at home. But yeah, so I was actively participating in both the Interact club, but apart from that, my main focus was on the IT club. So I would say like the whole technological aspect of me on the IT sector was like built during the foundation at school days itself. Apart from that, I've also was a part of Rotaract. So I had like a different background before I joined IEEE. I think the only thing that I could relate to is my involvement with my IT society, or like we call it the Peterite ICT. But tallying back into now and then, I think that actually laid like a big foundation in terms of how you can bridge the gap. So like it actually got the understanding for me about on a more social welfare sort of a club, or like a social welfare. And then there's also the technological aspect. I think that actually gave me like a very good balance of where I wanted to interfere, because both align to what I thought I can contribute. And based on that, what I do right now is actually related to that. So, like the initiatives that you mentioned, like tallies back to my involvement with my ICD society, so like IEEE Sri Lanka, all the projects that I get involved into. But in terms of Innovation Nation, that's actually something that I uh, got involved after I joined the IEEE Student branch actually. But all in all, I think having like a base experience from school days, either through clubs or either you being a prefect, actually will take you a long way, because you will learn to make mistakes early, and that actually helps you understand and puts you in the correct direction when you move forward in whatever you're doing. Because people normally say fail fast. I think the best way to fail fast is actually experiment and be a part early, and that will actually take you a long way.
Thank you. You have joined IEEE while in the Informatics Institute of Technology. That was the first place you stepped into IEEE. So, why did you want to join IEEE and how did it happen?
Okay, that's actually a very funny story. The only club I wanted to be a part of when I joined IIT after my A levels was IEEE. Out of nowhere, I got exposed to IEEE. I still don't know how I got to know the word IEEE, but I just knew that it was like a society that was more engineered focused. So since I was following a software engineering degree, I thought probably I can tally into it. So when I joined IIT during the orientation, I came in hopes of joining the IEEE Society and the Toastmasters, but the only thing that I actually went forward with, even though I was part of Toastmasters for some time, I didn't follow it through. But I think I stick to IEEE for a very long time. How I joined it was, it might sound very funny. I competed for a student branch position. I lost. I don't know by how many votes, but I lost. Uh, so I was actually okay. I was hoping I'd probably take part as a volunteer, at least without being part of the committee, because I didn't understand at that time what IEEE could bring from the understanding that I have now. But I'm glad I actually stuck through the whole thing. But uh, my main involvement was mostly towards the computer society, the chapter. So I think that really tallies back to my involvement with the IT society, or like the P-Trade ICT during school as well. So that we started with my batch. So the people who lost the election kind of started the student chapter, and that's how my involvement came into be. But I think my actual involvement with IEEE came in when I went and proposed to my branch counselor, saying that, hey, we had this competition called like a hackathon called Code Sprint. It's like the first 24-hour hackathon that was done by the university, as history claims it to be. But I thought it was getting very redundant in one way, because people were more focusing towards different aspects. Because the whole idea of the hackathons those days was to bring products out, but it wasn't solving the business needs. Like, people judge you based on your business aspect, how well you can market the product, not by your technology. So the whole hackathon sphere was like very clumsy to me. So I went and proposed to my branch council, said, why don't we do something like this? And that's when the whole roller coaster of me being here actually started, if you think about it on that way. But my main involvement was in the computer society.
What are your experiences as a volunteer in your student branch? And how did volunteering at the student branch lead you to becoming the vice chairperson of IEEE Computer Society in your university from 2017 to 18?
Okay. So I actually started my volunteering as the vice chair itself for the computer society. Before that, we did have like the local, sorry, not the local, like the internal hackathons that we have at IIT to promote like for the first years and whatnot. That was my first involvement. But I think the major involvement, me getting involved, was through the IEEE Computer Society. Uh, but my biggest responsibility was to actually chair the code sprint project. I think that actually was like the stepping stone for me to define who I am at this point. I think without, if I didn't take on that project, uh, I don't think the Mithushan that you know right now would exist. So I think my involvement with that is the biggest experience I got. So just to break it down, probably the industry engagement, the people that we got involved with, my committee, funny stories like we use Code Sprint as like an excuse. So me and I have a friend called Hirishikan. I think most of them might know Hirishikan as well. Uh, so we actually went to meetups, we went to competitions, we spoke to the judges. We didn't even know them. We just went and spoke to them saying that, hey, we are doing something thing like this. We are trying to revamp our 24-hour hackathon into like more sort of a streamlined process. Uh, and we went and spoke to people, we went enrolled in competitions. We just enrolled in competitions just to understand what other people are doing, go and talk to their judges and see if they're interested in being part of our program, get their feedback as well from the current hackathons that they were doing. But I think this could actually resonate with you guys. So the biggest inspiration for Core Sprint was the YAL IT Hub. I think most of the guys at the University of Jaffna is actually part of it in one way or the other. In involvement, I think though that's where we went and met a lot of contacts. So my involvement in Code Sprint actually paid way to me to like ask questions in public. Like I said, I was a very silent guy. People won't believe if I say that I'm an even an introvert. Uh, I like my own personal space, but I do have exhibit some sort of extroverted behavior. But I think that all just boils down to my experience getting involved at the student branch level, organizing competitions, organizing code sprint.
Okay. Many people believe that engaging in activities such as volunteering is a barrier to academics. What do you think about it? Was this an obstacle for your academics?
It's very hard for me to say that, is because when I enrolled at IIT, I knew most of the things. Why I say that is because I said I got involved with my IT society, right? Like Peter at ICT. I kind of learned everything that I wanted to learn during that time. Also, when I did my second shy as well, I dropped chemistry and I took IT so second shy. So I learned most of it, and I've been independently like a hobbyist. I've been doing software engineering for some time. Like I could say probably this is my 8th year doing things. So I already knew most of the things that IIT was teaching. Second year was challenging in one way, but apart from that, I knew what I was doing. So I could dedicate most of my time to volunteering rather than academics. Because I just knew what I was doing. And also I had very good friends who like crash course me like 1 hour before the exam or like the one day before my exam. So I had that balance. I knew my strengths, I knew my weaknesses. So I played according to that. Wherever I needed to give prominence to my academics, I gave it there. Wherever I needed prominence to my volunteering, I gave it there. Uh, so I think I understood who I was and I just balanced it upon that. So it's very hard for me to answer, but yes, in one way, try to understand what's worthy. Like if you feel that you need to work a bit more on academics on a particular subject, try to focus on that and then dedicate your time to volunteering. If you feel that you have a very big responsibility, try to delegate it. The probably the success of CodeSprint in one way was the fact that every one of us knew our strengths. Like the project committee knew our strengths and we communicated well. I think that's the same strategy I've been following for all the projects that I do. I try to understand who is good at what, and I try to delegate. In one aspect, I'm very bad at finances. but I'm very good at communication and strategic planning and whatnot. That's my strength. If I'm bad at something, just delegate it to someone. So they take on their responsibility. So we had that balance on who was good at what. So if you understand that team aspect and people you're working with, everything becomes easy. It's just about you understanding your strength, you understanding who you're working with, and giving priority to what you should. If you feel it's a burden, then probably you should try to understand what you need the most. Probably sometimes education might take you a long way. So you could probably give that a bit of focus and try to take a bit less responsibility and then delegate the rest. If not, you just have to know your strengths and weaknesses. For me, it just worked out for me in one way is because I had very good friends who crash coursed me and I already knew what I was doing.
You are the former Industry Relations Subcommittee Chair of the Student Activities Committee of IEEE Sri Lanka Section. What were your experiences there? And also our audience will love to know more about the Industry Relations Subcommittee.
Sure, I'm not going to go in depth into that in one way, but I'll act because most of the things I told you right now is me going and meeting people, talking to them, seeing if they're interested, taking on board them as partners. And that's what's called actually in one way or the other. That's what is called industry relations. If in a very high level, no, it's like how can you connect to the local industry or like the government organizations or your local ecosystem? How can you keep the relationship between, let's assume it's, since we're in the IEEE sphere, how can you connect your local student branch or like the local projects that you're working with the industry to the government organizations or like, or the organizations that's in the similar nature of you? How can you increase collaboration over competition is what I would say industry relations is in like a nutshell. That actually works along with you going and talking to people. This actually helps you in terms of building your confidence in talking to people as well as building your network. So there's this thing that says building your network is your net worth. So it tallies along with how well you can talk to people. Even if you're not comfortable, you just talk to people, uh, get involved. It's like you're bringing in partners to support your own cause. The partners could be, assuming that you're doing a hackathon, or if you're doing like yeah, let's assume that you're doing a hackathon. This could be like mentors, you go and talking to mentors, or if you just drop them an email saying that hey, we're doing something like this, then you bring them on board. You have future communication, see if you can have them along the long journey with you. You probably, this might be just one event that you do, probably you can tag along them with all the other events. So it's like you're collaborating with them. So they are industry professionals, so like an organization that you're bringing to your, let's say you're bringing to IEEE or your student branch and working with them with the same objectives.
From 2019 to 20, you were the chair of INSL. Can you talk about memories of that time?
I think that's like the second, I would say like that. I wouldn't compare second or this thing, but I'm just saying second is that's the second entrepreneurship event that I did. One thing that I was part of Innovation Nation 2018. In 2018, that's when Subodh Chanak and Damnika like spearheaded the project, and they brought it in Dr. Subodh Charles. I'm sorry, I'm just used to calling Subodh. I forget his credentials. So for this interview, I'll call him Dr. Subodh Charles. So Dr. Subodh Charles bought Innovation Nation way back in 2018. I think that's my first ever section project in terms of industry relations. Actually, the second project, I was part of another project doing industry relations as well. For some very odd reason, uh, from my background from Coach Print, like my student branch activity, student branch level volunteering, I was always framed to be the industry relations guy. So I was always stuck into that. But actually, it helped me grow my network a lot in terms as well. So yeah, so my involvement with Innovation Nation in 2018 probably thought I could make a difference in 2019. So I actually went ahead and asked the current committee, hey, I think I can do something with this. Can I take on the project? And they said they'll actually decide calling for volunteering applications and whatnot. And eventually, after the whole procedures and whatnot, I got the project on board. I think that's like the best memories I have of IEEE. Like, I think I made a family from IEEE based on that. I made my connections to everyone through that only. Even that involved me talking to getting people on board. Most of the IR stuff, the industrial relations stuff happened there. More like strategic planning, how we can make like a more disruptive program comparatively, because every project that I take, I say that, hey, it's a R&D. For me, it's an experiment. We are fairly new to this game. How can we do something better, more value, rather than last time, and not do something that everyone is doing. I think the experience that I had from Code Sprint doing the same thing helped me understand the drawbacks or the mistakes that I made. Help with the support and the team of that amazing Innovation Nation 19 team. We were able to pull off we were able to make a mark in terms of the program. And as I'm very happy to say that it's year on year, it's getting better and better. People are building that trust and seeing value in Innovation Nation. So the experience that I got of it is always experiment. Your committee can be your friends for life. They could eventually become your family as well. Talk to people even if you don't know, and I think that works. Just if you like what you're doing, you will ultimately you will connect to it and it'll work out for you.
I think nowadays artificial intelligence is a field the youth worldwide are interested in. So AI-driven Sri Lanka is there for such youths in Sri Lanka. As the co-chair of AI-driven Sri Lanka, I think you have some more to say.
Yeah, so my involvement with AI-driven Sri Lanka is also because I love the AI field. I don't know how I got involved in IEEE in the first place. I don't know how I got involved in AI as well. For some very odd reason, it was always there that I wanted to get into it from small days. So I jumped into it. The biggest inspiration I would say was Jarvis from Iron Man, like most of the time for everyone. I got into it. So one thing that I would say it's a very important field is right now it's growing. It has very great potential. Uh, like the whole, let's assume that now web development is like something that's mainstream. That's like the most sought out job in like common most sort of job like everywhere. I think AI would be that in a very short time or in a long run. You knowing that skill set will take you a long way. You knowing AI or like machine learning in general helps you understand the math behind it. You learn different aspects when you get involved. Assume that you do like a program an application related to healthcare. You have to understand the math. You have to understand the domain, the healthcare. Like if you're working for a disease, you have to understand the disease. Uh, you need to understand how different concepts of AI. So when you get involved in it, there's like a different subsections or like subfields that you know. So that actually helps you in terms of you widening your knowledge, as well as being like in very being like the demand. Like you can fulfill the demand that's going to come later on. And also it's fun. It's not it could be like very traditional programming in one way because of the frameworks and everything that's coming in, but it's fun. It's something new. If someone is more curious about experimenting, more curious about evolving, like trying new application, getting into the AI field would be good, because everyone right now are trying to, the digitization phase is happening. Everything right now is getting digital, because of COVID. Like COVID accelerated the process, even though it was like a very bad mishap in one way or the other. It made it jogged people's mind saying that, hey, we need to change. And I think that digitization phase is happening. And that actually kickstarted a lot, whether we can automate most of the stuff, whether we can bring better business decisions using technology. So I think all in all, it's a very growing field. If you get into it, you can ride the wave and you can be like an industry leader along the way. It might be very cliche for people to get into because you feel that everyone is getting to AI machine learning and you don't want to get into it. I think that's a very bad decision to make. Just get into it. You will be very happy. Your future self will thank your past self for getting into this very easily. Apart from that, something that's actually coming up is quantum computing and supercomputers and whatnot. Probably that's also something that people can look into. Probably like AI is a hype right now, quantum computing would be a hype later on as well.
AI-driven Sri Lanka is done by IEEE young professionals. So, how is this beneficial for undergraduate students?
So the AI-driven project, so I'm the co-chair, so I have, I think Dirini Kanayaka was a guest in your show as well. So she's the other co-chair. For sure, she might have given some information as well, but the AI-driven Sri Lanka project or like the initiative, we don't like to call it a project. Sorry to use the wrong term, but we like to call it an initiative is because we have a lot of focus areas. We focus on young professionals, we focus on students, uh, we also focus on industry leaders, like industry professionals. Uh, because since it's YP, doesn't mean that we don't have to focus on undergraduates. AI is like something needs to be built from ground up, like from I would say from school level at this point. There are a lot of initiatives that's done by other organizations as well to bring AI to school. I'm not sure how active it's in Sri Lanka, but outside the country, that's like a very big focus. People are trying to bring the AI knowledge directly from school days itself, because that actually brings you that thinking in terms of how you can solve problems. The question was like, is it relevant to undergraduates? Yes, in one way, is because young professionals is like a transition from you being from an undergraduate and then you coming out of university, entering the workforce or entering the academics. So we focusing on them. Actually, in a long run, we are focusing on young professionals. So training them, training young professionals, training students is like a long pipeline that we make to achieve our goal on a long run. It's not something that can happen overnight. So it has to happen over years, over months. So we are trying to set the stepping stones to like focus on the grassroots and eventually build on top of it over the years.
Now you are representing IEEE Region 10 and you are the webmaster of the IEEE Region 10 Young Professionals. So, in your point of view, how did volunteering help you to reach this place?
Sure. So the things I've done so far contributed to my personal development and the skill sets that I've got in terms of probably. I've told you like my technique. I do come from a software background, so I had the skills of being a webmaster. I think over and all this the personal development that I had across volunteering so far in IEEE like paved the way for me to get this opportunity. Uh, yeah, but I think the biggest thing about uh, getting involved in region projects is the connections that you make. I think it gives you a different perspective. People think that sticking into Sri Lanka or like sticking into like section level projects will stimulate your brain. But I think when you meet other people out of the countries, when you try to understand different cultures, different thought processes, in one way, and also that has been very contributing to or like a big mind shift change from what I have been personally growing so far and who I am right now.
We are willing to know about your responsibilities in Region 10 and your memories as well.
Sure. I think most of you guys are familiar with the recent events that happened, like Club and Sparkle Summit. So my involvement in that was more sort of my role as webmaster. Apart from that, I was also part of the technical aspect of it, like handling all uh, the platform, like Meet and whatnot. So I was the backstage guy for everything that you saw on the front stage. So I think that was like a very good experience in terms because I actually genuinely missed it. So like from school days, I actually love being in backstage. It's like you control the whole thing. But this was like a very different experience as well. It's because it's the first time doing like an online virtual event, like a more sort of a conference feeling, and doing it all virtual. That was like a very good experience for me. But apart from that, my involvement as technical, like on a technical coordination and also handling websites and whatnot, I do other stuff as well when we do strategic planning in terms of the event. If there's something, I do give my input as well. One thing that's very open is like everyone is open to inputs. So I do give in terms of thought processes and whatnot. Apart from that, I'm also involved in any and all activities YP does regarding funds and awards. Recently, the funding portal and the awards portal that was utilized for the reason awards and funds was built by me. So over and all, my responsibilities involves getting in project, being part of the committees, helping us steer across that we meet the values, as well as helping anywhere in terms that how we can digitize the processes that we have, like better in one way, how we can modernize what we have as of now.
What is your profession? And do you think that you got any inspiration from IEEE to become who you are today?
So as I mentioned earlier, I am like a software engineer at a company called Rooster Technologies. Probably people might have seen me with Paladin Analytics, but I recently moved out to Rooster Technology. It's the same, it's a product that came out of Paladin. We're moving it out as a separate company. Uh, Shameless promotion, if you guys are looking for jobs, there are a lot of jobs that's posted in Rooster. You guys can apply for. But apart from that, my profession is software engineer. I've been doing this for some time as a hobbyist for like close to 5 years, and in and freelancing and whatnot. Also been a professional for the past 2 to 3 years. Did IEEE inspire me to get started? I didn't know IEEE existed when I started, but IEEE did help me uh, boost my career in one way or the other. My involvement with the student branches, my contacts that I made off of doing projects, even the company that I work for as of now. I met both of the founders before during uni itself. At university, they knew that I existed. I knew that they existed. So the transition and the communication was very fairly straightforward. So the connections that I made at through IEEE really helped out nail jobs and whatnot as well. Even during my internship, the people that I got to know, apart from my involvement with IEEE, so I was also involved in another committee called NG Sri Lanka. So my involvement with that and also IEEE really helped me boost my internship as well. Uh, yes, in one way, did IEEE inspire me to get into software engineering? No, because I didn't know it existed. But did IEEE help me to do better? Yes, definitely, like 200%. It just skyrocketed my profession in one way or the other.
As,
And
a,
also never to forget the resources that IEEE provides as well.
as an experienced volunteer, what is your idea about volunteering in IEEE? I think those who are willing to be volunteers will have a lot to learn from you.
I think not a lot to learn from me, but there'll be a lot to learn when they get involved. Like everyone says, don't just have it in the ideation phase. Like don't just keep ideas. I'll be probably an hypocrite to say that, but don't keep like the whole ideation thing. Like keep it in the idea phase. Just don't say that I'm going to join IEEE. Just join IEEE. Get involved in the projects. Most of the time, all the experience that I it was from getting involved hands-on. So I think they will learn by themselves. Like try to take multifunctional roles. If you're assigned for one, I think it actually depends on your anyone and all who wants to like become like a chair or like taking the chair position. I think all that you have to give is give everyone the equal opportunity to be a part of every other committee. assuming that even though a design is only doing design, probably just release him from his work, because you might have more than one designer. So you can probably put him in like a lead position, give them the cross-functional role as well. You could probably assign a secretary not to just do work. I think Dilini is like a perfect example of, she probably might have spoken, I don't know if she had, but she's like a perfect example of like being a multifunctional person, playing multiple roles. I think even she was like the biggest inspiration for me as well, to like get myself involved in a lot of other activities apart from my strong suit. So if anyone and all is like is a chair, probably like give more exposure to everyone who is working to you, because they're the main reason people join volunteering positions is because they want to learn something, or either to make contacts. So give them the equal opportunity. And also, if you're a volunteer, I think you have to take that opportunity. If you feel that you can do something, to communicate with that person saying, hey, I can do this, can I be part of it? So I'm good at this, I can probably help out you with this, but I want to grow in this aspect as well. I think that's something, an initiative that should come from the volunteer and also from the chair, to give the equal responsibility to everyone, not stagnate them in that particular role that they want, they're good at. Because the role that you pick them for, they're already good at. That's the main reason that you pick them for. So apart from that, give them a chance to grow as well in other aspects that they can be better at. All in all, you're growing someone, you're getting a multifunctional set of individuals as well. They'll probably help you out in the long run in one way, but all in all, you get the satisfaction that in one way you help someone get better. So that's probably the route that I take. I don't want one person doing one thing, because I terribly hate doing one thing for a long time. So I take my uh, weaknesses, or what do I say, might discuss, try to understand how I probably, if that person feels the same, I would probably see that he or she gets the experience that they need.
In time, we have arrived at the end of the session. Now, most of our audience knows that IEEE is not only for engineers. As a mature member of IEEE, can you recommend anybody to be a part of this? And what is your message for the members who like to volunteer and everyone who would like to join IEEE?
Sure. I think the biggest problem that comes in when a lot of people start joining IEEE is like, it's good for you, but if you want to volunteer in store branches, you have to increase the number of projects that you get involved as well. One thing I would probably suggest is, if you can't accommodate to a lot of projects, you could probably start looking at the whole micro volunteering aspects. You could probably have like a few roster of people uh, get involved as well. So because the question goes in like, it's not only for engineers, and also would I recommend this? I would 100% recommend this to anyone and all. But if you want to get equal opportunity to everyone, I think the initiative should actually come from student branches or the chapters or the project chairs, to see that everyone who's interested to be a part of it. Because only if you're part of it will someone feel that, okay, this is worthy. It's worth the money that I'm putting for. Like IEEE is like most of the other organizations, it's also a paid organization. It's not like a free this thing, because it has its perks. Like the money that you put in for IEEE for your membership has a bigger perk than you'll get anywhere else, because it's a global organization. The resource backing behind it, as an engineer or even without being an engineer, engineering background, I think it really helps. I think Kishkan would be the best person to actually talk about benefits he got out of IEEE without coming from an engineering background. Uh, so it really helps in one way, but the initiative should really come from the branch, the chapter, and everyone who's involved in the like leadership positions, to get everyone involved. The more and more, all in all, when everyone feels included, is when they will feel that they are part of the family, part of this organization. They're getting the maximum out of it. And one thing that I do understand, even it happened to me early when I started as well, I never knew that IEEE had this much of capacity, like the potential, until and otherwise I came up the ladder. like when I grew old, I understood, okay, when I got mature, okay, you can do these things with IEEE, the funds, the scholarships, the benefits that you get. I think all in all, if people can educate the new members on that, that will be a good value addition. Apart from that, I'm repeating myself again, just get them included and they will understand that. And for people who want to join, definitely join. I think you will feel included anyway in the family of IEEE.
Thank you very much for your valuable thoughts and ideas. It's such a great opportunity and a pleasure to have a session with a person like you. We kindly appreciate your presence here with your busy schedule and also again thank you for sharing your invaluable time with us. Now I may finally ask, how do you feel about the session?
Right. I think first of all, actually, thank you very much to everyone from the student branch of Jaffna for actually having me. Because if you guys don't make these initiatives, not everyone gets to share their journey. They don't get to, people don't get to, because at this point, everyone who's joining newly, joining the whole virtual aspect, they really don't understand what the perks that being physical events would be, being part of physical things. I think eventually doing these sessions would actually understand uh, the perks of it. So I think currently people who are at my stage or like this stage might have the experience of doing physical as well as virtual. I think you guys also can speak for yourselves as well. You also guys have that experience. So I think doing these sessions, I think even taking uh, students like interviewees from your branches as well could probably highlight on a student aspect how things would work out as well. But all in all, the session is actually good. It's kudos to you guys for actually organizing this. It's a good straightaway content and a good valuable resource for your university and also for all the other universities to actually learn from other people's experience. Because one thing I do believe is you are not in a position to make all the mistakes in the world, but you could probably learn from the other mistakes, learn from the other experiences the other people make, because each and every one of us live our own journey. I am going on my own journey. Jashoda is going on her own journey, because listening to other people probably might help you. That's why probably listening to podcasts or even watching experience YouTube videos probably might help you. It lets you learn other people's mistakes, other people's journey. I think the trail of a volunteer is like the initiative that you guys are making is like very good, and the sessions and the questions that you ask is like very well structured, and it actually takes you from step one to current step wherever you are. So kudos to you guys, the university, the IEEE student branch of the University of Jaffna. Kudos to you guys.
It's a great pleasure and thank you, Mr. Mithushan. So we have prepared a virtual token of appreciation for you. Please accept our token.
Thank you very much for having me, and thank you very much for the token.
Guys, we have come to the end of the fifth step of IEEE Footprints, Trails of a Volunteer. We hope that now you can get a better idea about IEEE with the words of 5 experts. Maybe it's a couple of minutes, but don't worry, this is not the end. Thank you very much all for joining and for spending time with us today. We'll meet you with another interesting journey of a great volunteer. Thank you and stay tuned.